When converting decimals into fractions, it's very important to consider the decimal place names. So the 4 is a digit in the tenths place. So that 4 is equivalent to 4/10. The 0 puts the decimal in the hundredths place, making the entire decimal 40 hundredths. So 0.40 is equivalent to 40 hundredths. So I can now say that and know that 40 hundredths is equivalent to 40 out of 100, or 40 hundredths as a fraction. Similarly, 4/10 can be written as a fraction as 4/10 or as a decimal, 0.4. Simply by saying the name, we say the fraction at the same time. Now that we've written our decimal as a fraction, we can simply reduce the fraction to its simplest form. 40 hundredths, or 4/10, is equivalent to 2/5. To go in the other direction, let's consider a more complicated fraction, such as 74 out of 40. To make this a decimal, I'm going to try to make this a fraction out of 10 or a fraction out of 100, just like the place values. So I'm going to use a giant 1 to reduce this. By dividing by 2. To make this fraction a little simpler, and then we'll scale up to 100. This gives me 37, because 74 divided by 2 is 37, and 40 divided by 2 is 20. Now, if I multiply by a giant 1 of 5 over 5, 20 times 5 gives me 100. So 37 times 5 gives me 185. Because this is out of 100, I'm going to write 185 and end it at the hundredths place. So I need to put my decimal here, 1/85 hundredths. This makes sense because this fraction is equivalent to 1 whole in 85 out of 100. Therefore, 1/85 hundredths can be written as a fraction 1/85 hundredths or a decimal 1/85 hundredths.